to order. Lane, roll call, please.
Do you want me to read it or?
You can just take it if you want, and
Okay.
we can look at it afterwards.
Yeah,
okay.
Sounds good.
Can I get a motion to suspend the rules as we have Heidi, who would like to speak with us today?
I motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
All right. The motion has been seconded. So I would like to introduce Heidi Levine. She is the Vice President of Student Development and Planning, and she is here to answer any questions we may have in regards to COVID testing, anything related to that for the beginning of the school year. So if anyone has questions, please just use the raise your hand feature in the chat.
And so thank you, Chase, and thanks all for having me. Is it okay if I just start by giving a little bit of update and context before we open it up? I promise to keep this brief. So welcome back, first of all. So I wanted to share with you a little bit about what we have learned from last fall, because I think that our experience on campus regarding COVID was really instructive. And I can tell you that, like, when I look at other campuses around the state and beyond, that had many more problems with significant spread and like kind of going into community spread on their campuses that we did, pretty amazing. And that is largely thanks to you and your peers. But we also learned a lot about what actually is risky and what is relatively less risky. So when we started the academic year, we were really anxious about pretty much everything. So like we didn't know so what was going to work, what wasn't. Every decision that came before the crisis management team felt like each decision point was, is this going to be the one that's going to result in us all having to kind of shut things down and go back to fully remote? And what we found was that, I think can be summed up largely that the public health experts know what they're talking about when they say, wear a mask and keep distance between you and other people. And that got borne out in what we saw around campus. So with very, very like less than one hand's worth of exceptions, we did not see spread in classrooms. And we also didn't see spread happening in structured, organized activities and events on campus. Where we saw COVID spread was where people were having less formal, unmasked, close contact with each other or with other people. So certainly some of that was happening on campus, but also as people would go home for the weekend and be with their families, and their family members may have been out and about. But it was really those close contacts and not the structured formal things that we were doing on campus. We also learned that, and again, it's not just us learning this, that where there's the most risk of COVID spread is happening with people who are not symptomatic. Often it's before they become symptomatic, though sometimes there are people that can have COVID and never develop symptoms. And those two things are really driving a lot of the conversations, drove a lot of the conversations of the crisis management team and our plans for this semester. So one of those really fits in with the decision to follow the recommendations of public health experts and college health experts and initiate random testing among students. Because again, knowing that asymptomatic people spread it, and that we, as a residential campus, we have lots of opportunities for that kind of closer contact that is more likely to lead to spread. And by testing students who are asymptomatic, that will help give us a better sense of what the prevalence of the virus is on campus, which will in turn help us make better decisions about when we move from one operational phase to another, whether that it's loosening up or tightening back up restrictions. And hopefully it will also help us identify students who may have COVID, not yet have symptoms, so that we can take steps to minimize the extent to which it's spreading. So that testing will serve multiple purposes for us. One of the other things that we are looking at is how we encourage, in my area, the different areas, departments in student development that do student programming, but also I know Rich is working with CAB to look at how do we do more things face-to-face in ways that are structured and stay within our guidelines. Because again, we've learned that as long as we're taking those appropriate steps, we really can do more that is face-to-face. And I think our students are just ravenous for opportunities to engage with each other. So looking at how we can do more of that, but continue to stay safe. And then the last thing I wanted to mention was vaccines. So no, I am so anxious to be able to get mine, which I don't think is happening anytime soon. I know we have some students who've already been able to be vaccinated, largely because they may have jobs where they're working in settings that in healthcare related kinds of settings where they would have access to those vaccinations. But the vast majority of us are still going to be waiting a while. Katie Lee continues weekly to be participating in webinars from the Iowa Department of Public Health in Warren County. And so as we find out about vaccine availability and the state being ready to move toward vaccinating folks in higher education, both faculty and staff, but also students, we will definitely be letting the campus know and looking for ways to help get as many people vaccinated as quickly as possible. So new vaccines getting approved. I mean, even as we speak, there's one or two that are in the pipeline. So hopefully that will help speed up how quickly we can be expanding vaccination around the state. But so that's where I wanted to start, and happy to answer questions that folks may have.
All right, so if you have a question, please use the chat features, raise your hand, please. Thanks. All right, well, go ahead.
So yesterday, the dashboard reported 5 new COVID cases. Do you know where those came from, or was it like athletes that have been here over break, or why was it just on the first day we had that many?
So those were largely people who became ill while they were home for break. And so we just resumed the dashboard this week. And so I think today there was 1 new case that has just come in since the camp classes started, but the other 5 are actually preceded this week. Those students aren't here. and those may not all be students. So again, the case counts on the dashboard include faculty and staff as well as students. And I will tell you, we've had faculty and staff who have developed COVID. It's not just students on there.
That clears it up. Thank you.
All right, Jordan, you are next. Go ahead.
Related to because athletes now certain sports, they're getting tested like every couple weeks or like every week. So when it comes to the random testing of students, so are the athletes also in that pool with other at-large students in the random COVID draw?
Yeah, let me talk a little bit about the athletes, because it depends on the sport and then how all of this plays into generating that random list, because we're not looking to double test students in a single week. I mean, that would just be cruel. So for the athletes, every member of a team gets tested as they are re-entering. So as they're kind of entering their preseason and starting up, everybody gets tested. And then beyond that, how frequently the team gets tested depends on where they fit within the NCAA's COVID-related risk factors. They have different tiers of sports, and it's really about how close contact people are in, for how long, is it a sport where they can wear a mask or not? And so the testing protocols after that entrance testing are based on that risk level. So high risk sports, they're all being tested every week. Medium risk sports will be kind of rolling as we did in the fall. And then the lowest risk sports just have the entrance testing, and beyond that, it's only if people become symptomatic or exposed, kind of like the rest of us. If a team is doing regular testing, we back the members of that roster out of the sample from which we're drawing the random testing students. So if you're on the basketball team and you're already being tested every week, you don't need to be tested twice in a week. So we've got them covered. The other groups that we're backing out of that is anybody that currently it's anybody that has been COVID positive within 90 days. The CDC is actually, as more information is coming in about long-term, how COVID affects people and for how long it appears people are immune following illness, period of time in which they're saying you shouldn't be retesting may be getting longer. We watch what the CDC is saying. If they lengthen that period, then we will as well. So they get backed out. And then anybody we've placed in quarantine gets backed out, because they should already, if you've been exposed, you're probably already getting tested. You definitely should be considering getting tested. And so we're not going to put them in the mix. So it's who is left after we pull out those students.
All right, Scott, you can go ahead.
Sure. So my main question is regarding the sort of metrics that are being used to compare us to other colleges and how they've managed the pandemic. I was wondering, I kind of want to know where we're doing well, where we need to improve, that sort of thing.
Yeah. It's hard getting really good numbers because most schools aren't super open about their numbers. So we are not the only ones that aren't putting them like front and center on their website. So I've trolled other campus websites and talked to other people, been able to dig up a little bit of information. I think just our general per capita numbers have been better than, not everybody, but from what I have heard from many campuses, including in Iowa. And I've used Wartburg often as my touchstone, because Wartburg does put their dashboard right on their public facing website. So that's awesome. So I can check Wartburg every day and see how they're doing. So Tatum obviously knows somebody at Central and how they're doing. Wartburg early in the academic year had well over 100 students who were in quarantine. Yes. That is more than twice the number we had even at our highest point. I can't remember how many positives they had. I mean, at least 3 times the number of positives that we had. The schools that I know of that did better, I think also might have had fewer students who were face-to-face. I mean, so there's some schools that really, they brought a very limited number of students back to campus and had almost all their classes remote. And again, the classroom isn't the problem, but the more people you have on campus, the more contact, the more opportunities there are. I think I will tell you that our protocols are really pretty conservative. So Central, for instance, I don't know that they were mandating mask use. I know early in the year they weren't. So yeah. So do they continue to not mandate masks?
Yeah, I have a friend that's a first year at Central right now, and she was contemplating between Simpson and Central, but she decided to go to Central. And I remember she told me within the first week of them being on campus, I think they had 72 positive cases. Like in classrooms and dining halls, masks aren't mandatory because they consider it to be like a political thing. Like if you think that it's not real, you don't need to wear a mask because the students threw a fit that it was infringing on their like constitutional rights. So like Central has been a hot mess and their campus isn't closed. So students are still going to like the bars in the neighborhood without masks and like doing all of those things. And the students there aren't holding the other students accountable, which like here, I feel like it's mostly students on students. Like we're keeping each other accountable. And it's like it's just their administration being like, wear your mask, please. But other than that, they like don't do anything.
Wow. So I think that community accountability has definitely been helpful. I think having conservative protocols on the one hand, it's kind of sucked. It has not been fun. On the other hand, it's worked. Our protocols have actually worked. I would say the other thing that worked was in the middle of the fall when we started to see a spike. We didn't let it go very long before we said, okay, we need to back up. And one of the things we found was then within about 2 to 2.5 weeks of moving back to orange, our numbers went down and stabilized again. If the semester hadn't been ending anyway, we probably would have been able to start opening some things back up a little bit more because we were able to restabilize. And so again, one of the benefits of the random testing is if we start seeing the positivity rate go up, that tells us, okay, time to rein it in a little bit more, get things under control. When we see that positivity rate go down, great, that's a sign we don't have a high level of COVID within the community and we can open things back up more. And rather than us just kind of trying to second guess it, we'll have really good data that we can use.
Tatum, did you have another question or?
Yeah, I did. So, compared to last semester, I know from like a student perspective, a lot of students felt like there was a lack of communication from the board to the actual students. And I just want to know, is there going to be like I don't know how, like I had a few people like ask me questions, so I'm going to try my best to like relay what they were thinking. Is there like, I had someone ask if there was going to be like a weekly email sent out with like explaining what's going on. And I tried to tell them that like, I'm not on the board, so like I don't know, but like also these people have other positions that like this is a new thing, so I don't know if they have time to like create like a weekly email because people were mad that they had to go to like SC Connect to find like the numbers. So they were wondering if like CMT was going to send out like weekly emails about like how things are going essentially.
Great. We can definitely look at that. I mean, that is something we actually have a meeting tomorrow and I can take that up with them and see, do we need to up the communication, just giving like more regular updates to people? That would be great. Thanks.
I'd also just like to say for everyone watching on our live stream, I know the Simpsonian does a pretty good job of making daily updates about positive COVID tests and quarantine. So you can check them out on their social media platforms. Any other questions for Heidi?
Awesome. Well, it is good to see you all on the screen. I'm going to hold out hope that, so like this is the first year that I have been here that I haven't had all of SGA over to my house. Like I usually make chili at least once a winter. So I don't know that chili season is going to happen, but I'm gonna hope that by the end of this semester, we can do a cookout at my house. So fingers crossed, right? Okay. Have a great semester, everybody. I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Heidi. All right, so we can resume with our normal thing. So item number 3, previous minutes approval. Seeing we had no previous minutes, we can go to item number 4, reports. My report was just to introduce Heidi. I'll also remind you that Jorge and I do sit on CMT, so if you guys have any questions, we can relay them to that group of students. Also, just saying that to everyone in the Simpson community, you can send us an email or SGA an email, and we will try to get your questions answered. So is there any questions for me? Seeing none, we can move on to student body president, Jorge.
Hello, how are you guys? I'll keep it brief because it's our first meeting. Don't want to keep you guys too long, but we will be getting updates soon on the town hall that Chase and I met with President Kelleher with regards to the 4% increase. We met with her like 4 or 5 times, and it's coming up. I believe, not super certain if I recall right, but there will be more information with like COVID protocols in case parents are also welcome for them to also be able to understand, or whoever may want to come. But yeah, and then the other thing is elections. So elections are coming up for refill positions. As you guys know, Casey graduated. Chase is a sophomore class president, so that position is also vacant, and we have 2 sophomore class senators. The emails have been sent out already to the proper classes, and signups will begin tomorrow at 12 p.m. and will last until the 25th at 12 p.m. So it's kind of a quick turnaround, but I wanted to make sure that it's out there. If you know anyone that's open for ideas, because next semester, hopefully, as we move a little bit more back to normal, SGA can play a huge role in bringing student life back to what it normally was, and having as much input as possible is best, and especially from different avenues. So I'd encourage you guys to reach out to your peers to have signed up. And then elections will be the 25th to the 27th. So once again, quick turnaround. That way next Wednesday, the 27th at 3 p.m. they conclude, and we can induct them. Yeah. To have them sit on the committee, because if we have budgets, we don't have a senior class president, and yeah, we don't have the committee. But yeah, any questions?
Go ahead, Tatum.
When was the email sent out for elections? Just because I had some people ask me today, and I didn't realize that they were going to like the specific classes. I don't know why my brain didn't kick in. Just when were those sent out?
I sent the email out to all of the senior class and sophomore class. That may have been sent out like probably, wouldn't you say, Jorge, a couple weeks ago?
Yes.
Okay.
Probably a couple weeks ago. But if you think it would help, I could resend it out again tomorrow morning.
I think that you might, because people like this one person, I was like, you might just have to scroll through, but I also I got like 24 emails the other day at one time. So like my email is like a mess. So I think it might be beneficial to send it again. So just so it's at the top of people's email so they can see it.
Well, you won't get it. It only went specific to the sophomore class and senior class. So not every student's going to get it. So, but I'll resend them out tomorrow morning just as a reminder.
All right. I can kind of just say, Jorge and I decided on the length of the voting and the campaigning based on like just the data. In the past, it's been open for like a whole week, and that's pretty time consuming, and very few people ever fill it out in those final days. So that's the reason why we're trying to speed it up this year. So we'll move on to the junior class president, considering the senior class president spot is currently vacant. So go ahead, Tatum.
Well, hold on, I need to split my screen. So sorry, friends. Okay. Hello. Hi. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you guys all had a fun and relaxing and safe break. If you guys haven't already seen, our bulletin board is up in Kent, and she looks so cute and so snazzy, and there's like a little floor sticker in front of it. It's super cute. So for organizations or anyone, if you guys have posters or flyers for any events, you are free to put those up on the board yourself if you would like to, as long as you get like the basic approval, because the same rules still apply for like things posted in Kent. You still need that stamp of approval. You can just get it from the org suite or from the desk behind the counter in Kent. But if you don't want to do that, you can always send me or Will your poster, and we can put that up for you as well. But that is all that I had for my report.
Any questions for Tatum? All right, we will move on to the first year class president, considering the sophomore class president position is also vacant.
Okay, I'm pretty much just gonna ditto what Tatum said because she summed it up good. But welcome back to campus, everybody. Hope you all had a good break. Hopefully this semester we can make even better than last semester, and then hopefully by the end of the school year we'll be semi back to normal or be able to do some more activities. So keep your heads up, keep it going this last semester.
All right, thanks, Will. Any questions for Will? All right, we will move on to other reports. Go ahead, Tatum.
Hold on, I have to split the screen again. I wasn't prepared. Okay, so ACCDEI, this next week, we are interviewing for VPEM positions. So like the vice president of like diversity and inclusion at Simpson. We have 2 candidates that we're interviewing on January 25th and January 26th. I'll be at the January 25th meeting and I will take very much so in-depth notes and let you guys know what happens. But I unfortunately have to dip out of the second meeting a little bit early. So Piscazzi is going to be taking my place in that last portion of the meeting because she has already been on the committee before. So she kind of knows how it works. But that is it. And I'll be telling you guys about that at next week's meeting. And it's probably going to be a little long. But if you guys would like to come to the interviews, you are more than welcome. Just let me know so I can send you the link directly because it is a closed link because, you know, what happened earlier in the year. But that is all.
All right, any questions for Tatum? We will move on to item number 5, old business. There's no old business. We'll move on to item number 6, new business. There's also no new business. So we will move on to item number 7, general discussion. We thought it'd be a good time to read some of the SGA comment box notifications that we got. So Jorge, go ahead if you want to read those.
Yes. So all of these comments seem to be pertaining the same matter, with like trash cans. So SGA comment box, comment number 154. I'm not going to walk all the way down from 3rd floor to empty out a teeny trash can outside the middle of the night with snow on the ground in 15-degree weather. Comment 155. Do you guys want me to run through them quick and then answer questions? Is that best? Yeah. I'm trying to split screen, but very good. 155. Put the garbage cans back in the hall. It's too cold and inconvenient to walk all the way to the dumpster for garbage that could be filled every single day. 156. I live on the 3rd floor of Kresge and I want trash can on our floor. To have to go all the way down to the dumpsters ourselves is a little ridiculous for each thing that we need to throw away. Recycling is great, but removing the trash cans from the hall is absolutely ridiculous. Comment 157. We need to have trash cans in the hall's residence building. It's very inconvenient that we have to walk down to 3rd floor at least 3 times a day just to take the trash out. Janitors have a job for a reason. If recycling is the issue, then give us 2 bins, 1 for recycling, 1 for trash. I feel like we won't have as much to recycle as much as we have trash. So maybe just 1 recycling bin per floor. So yes, they're all about trash cans. So, I mean, it's general discussion. So, I mean, Corey, go ahead, and then Scott.
Go ahead, Corey. You're on mute.
Okay, I know that I don't live in the freshman dorms, but what do these first years think everyone in sophomore suites and apartments do? Like, we don't have hall trash cans. We walk our happy behinds outside in the 15-degree cold weather and dump our recycling and our trash. So what these 18-year-old children can do is the same thing and stop complaining. Thank you.
Scott, go ahead.
I think it's a little ridiculous to think that taking away a public amenity from someone makes your life intrinsically better. Frankly, it's the same thing that happened to the Greek houses. We don't have trash cans in the middle of our hall either. We're paying the same amount of money and we're actually getting less. They keep increasing the prices of this college, and yet we have to keep paying more for room, board, and tuition. Really, frankly, what should be happening is everyone should have a trash can in the hallway. Everyone should have a recycling can in the hallway. We don't even get our own trash cans. I had to spend $25 for the trash can in my room, and that is a little ridiculous. And I also have to pay for the trash bags. It's way too much money. It should be trash cans for everyone. It's a public amenity. It should be accessible to everyone. To have anyone walk outside for every little bit of trash and recycling is ridiculous.
Okay, thank you, Scott. Looks like David is next.
This isn't so much in response to anything anyone else has said, but it's to one of those comments that was mentioning something about janitors have jobs or get paid for a reason. I haven't formulated what I was going to say about anything else about the specifics of the issue. Just lingering on that, I just wanted to say, let's not go there as college students, referring to working adults. You know, yes, we can comment and I guess look at things from a perspective, but let us not presume to speak on, you know, the nature of working individuals and individuals have been working for longer than us. So just throwing that out there.
Okay, Tatum.
While I completely understand the frustration with people who live in Kresge because there's no elevator, I understand that. For people who are in Barker who are complaining, I think that that is not a valid reason because there is an elevator. You don't need to walk downstairs if you don't want to. But kind of going off of David's comment, the janitorial staff at Simpson has had their jobs significantly increased because of the amount of cleaning that they have to do every day. When I was a first year, I think I saw a janitor maybe once or twice a week. They would vacuum. I saw one every morning in the bathroom. This year, I can tell you, I have not walked into my apartment building once without seeing a janitor cleaning, disinfecting, taking out trash, cleaning out our dryers, cleaning out our washers. So I do understand the frustration with it. But at the same time, I was a first year. I spent $30 on a trash can. I took my happy ass outside when it was negative 20 degrees and a wind chill our freshman year. Because if you were here in 2018, we had a solid week where we were not allowed to leave our apartments because we were going to get frostbite. Like, I completely understand. I completely understand the frustration with it. We had the same problem my freshman year in Barker. I completely understand. But at the same time, that is a very small inconvenience. And these people are here at 6 a.m. salting and icing and doing all of these things. So bashing a Simpson staffer because they're not doing their job, they are doing more than their job description right now and not getting paid nearly enough. So I just wanted to clear that up. And if it sucks that bad, let me know and I'll buy you a fucking hat. Great.
Thanks, Tatum. Will, go ahead.
I think a lot of it is around like education. I don't think a lot of first years exactly know, especially in Kresge, know like where the best dumpster is or like where they're supposed to dump their trash. So I think that's a lot of part of it. We just need to be able to like educate the students more on where to go with their trash and what to do with it. Another thing I was just wondering, it was that I would like to know what they did with the trash cans exactly. Because if they just like took 30 trash cans and then just like threw them away, I don't really know why they did that, or I would just like to know where they put them, like what they did with them. But yeah.
Okay, Scott.
I'm speaking on behalf of first years, even though I'm still in a Greek area and all that stuff. Like, just because someone had to go through the suffering of having to walk outside and throw trash into the dumpster doesn't mean that that should be taken away from people inside of the trash closets in Kresge. Yeah, if it's cold outside, if it's in the negative degrees, maybe I'm thinking of it because I'm from Minnesota and it gets down to negative 30 sometimes, you know. Like, even if we call it an inconvenience, right, then it's still something that's being taken away, making a public amenity like garbage or recycling further away from people inside of Kresge. That's frankly ridiculous. But I didn't imagine when I wanted to see more recycling available for people, that would be eventually the end of garbage closets and that sort of thing. You can disagree with me all you want, but I think that these things should be more easily accessible, not generally harder to access for more and more people, especially when we have to pay quite a bit of money to live inside of this college, since it is a residential college.
I'm going to intervene before David speaks. Luke Bohonic did reach out to me, Jorge, Rich, and myself, and he wants to talk to some group, probably the exec board, and go over this a little more. I know it relates to recycling at Simpson. Recycling has never been the best at Simpson. In doing this, it kind of takes away that laziness of throwing your trash in the recycling bins, which is also a costly hassle. So not 100% sure on all the details, but you guys will all be filled in at a later time once we talk to Luke. David?
Thank you. I'd like to jump on what Will said about education, and not just, purely educating the freshman class, educating everybody about, better or easier ways to take out the trash, take out the recycling, do those things, making them a bit more convenient, or just making them easier to do, because the hardest fact to this whole thing is that money is involved. A lot of money. A lot of money directed towards a lot of people, and to a process that is quite intricate. There is no solution to this that is going to be very blanket or happen at any point. It's going to be a process. Honestly, it could be a great thing for us to take over somehow, figuring out some way to make it a bit more convenient without having to get custodians and janitors involved, or really get the school involved, because as much as I agree, Scott, that we do live here, there are certain conveniences that we would rather have. At the state the school is right now with its money handling, and though I'm not on any sort of board to know how money is allocated necessarily, the way it's being handled is in no time soon are we going to get that convenience there, especially when it's not been with us. So I'd rather spend our time focusing more on how we as students have recognized this problem, and see what we can do, what we can put in place. Maybe now that we're not doing so many things in person, what money we can allocate to making this easier on first year students. It is cold as hell outside. I am from Amarillo, Texas. I don't like it either. Trust me, going outside, but we can recognize that you guys are going through a struggle at all, and we can address it without having to put anybody on the chopping block. So we can take this as an opportunity for us to be leaders. I would love.
I'd just like to highlight what Rich said in the comments. The 4% increase is annually on a academic year basis, not semester. For anyone, first years especially, who are confused about that. Tatum, go ahead.
Yeah, so from what I've kind of picked up, this is not more like an SGA thing. This is a res life situation. I don't live in a first year dorm, as we all know, so I don't know how like that's happening right now. But I would recommend, instead of coming to SGA, which is great, we love to read your guys' comments. That's what we're here for. You do have a CA. I don't know if the CA can do anything. I assume that people probably talked to their CA before they went to SGA. But at the same time, like Luke Bohonic runs Res Life, and we can't tell Luke Bohonic to do anything. He's Luke Bohonic. He's going to do what he wants and what he can do. So with that being said, like, don't get mad at SGA because you guys don't have trash cans. It was not an SGA decision, because from what I've heard, if it was our decision, there would be trash cans in hallways. But because it's not, this is a res life problem. So with what Chase was saying, when exec talks to Luke Bohonic, we will bring up all concerns, and especially will be the main one talking at that, because he is the only person in exec that lives in a freshman dorm. So just wanted to like put that out there, that like res life, because Elliot's not here. So there's your daily dose of Elliot res life. There you go.
Thank you, Tatum. Skylar, go ahead.
Okay, as someone who lives in a first year dorm, I understand the struggle. However, we are adults, and adults take out their trash. But I also have a question. What are we doing with the closets that the trash cans were in? Like, are those in use, or what are they going to do with those?
That's probably a question we can ask Luke. Will, if you want to write that question down, that'd be a good question for you to ask. Go ahead, Tatum. Okay. Any other questions in regard to the SGA comment box? Okay, we will move on to item number 8, announcements. Are there any announcements? Jordan, go ahead.
I don't know if this counts for announcements, but I'll do my old spiel that I used to do, but then I'll keep doing it now, I guess. Follow CDC guidelines, wear a mask, stay 6 feet apart when you can, be safe, be smart, wash your hands, use hand sanitizer, disinfect your surfaces, do all of that amazing stuff. We want to have a good year. We all don't want to be put in the red zone. I mean, if this was football, I would want to be in the red zone, but at Simpson College, I don't want to be in the red zone. So let's just have a safe, good semester here.
Anyone else? All right, so it looks like we are done with announcements. This is the first meeting of the semester, so it's obviously not going to be super long. Thank you all for coming. The next item is item number 9, adjournment. This meeting stands adjourned. Have a great night, guys.